The music world is mourning the loss of one of its most beloved figures. John Lodge, the legendary singer, bassist, and songwriter of the iconic British rock band the Moody Blues, has passed away at the age of 82. According to a statement released by his family, John died suddenly and unexpectedly, but peacefully slipped away surrounded by his loved ones, and the comforting sounds of the Everly Brothers and Buddy Holly, two artists who had deeply influenced his early musical journey. The heartbreaking news sent shockwaves across the global music community, marking the end of an era that shaped the sound of progressive and symphonic rock for more than half a century. Born on July 20th, 1943, in Birmingham, England, John Lodge grew up during a time when post-war Britain was bursting with musical experimentation and cultural rebirth. From a young age, John was fascinated by rhythm, melody, and harmony. His parents noticed his passion early on, often recalling how he would strum along to radio tunes and mimic basslines before he even owned an instrument. By his teenage years, John was already playing in local bands, exploring rock and roll at its roots. It was in those years that he began to develop the musical style that would later define his career. A rich blend of melody, spirituality, and poetic lyrics that touched millions around the world. In 1966, John Lodge joined the Moody Blues, 2 years after the band's formation. The original members, Denny Laine and Clint Warwick, had recently left, paving the way for John and fellow newcomer Justin Hayward to reshape the band's sound entirely. That same partnership between Lodge and Hayward would become one of the most defining creative collaborations in British rock history. Their 1967 masterpiece, Days of Future Past, remains one of the most important albums ever created, a groundbreaking fusion of classical music and psychedelic rock. It introduced the world to timeless hits like Nights in White Satin and Tuesday Afternoon. With its lush orchestral arrangements and emotional lyrics, the album not only elevated the Moody Blues into superstardom, but also influenced countless musicians for generations. Lodge's skill on the bass and his distinct vocals became a central force in the band's evolution. He wasn't just the man behind the rhythm. He was also a gifted songwriter, penning classics such as Isn't Life Strange and I'm Just a Singer in a rock and roll band. These songs captured the human experience, love, confusion, hope, and spirituality, and reflected the deeper meaning behind the Moody Blues art. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, the band continued to explore new sounds, from the psychedelic textures of In Search of the Lost Chord to the more pop-oriented energy of Octave in 1977. No matter how much the musical landscape changed, John Lodge remained loyal to his artistic roots, blending poetic thoughtfulness with technical brilliance. In addition to his work with the Moody Blues, John also released solo projects that showcased his individuality as an artist. His 1977 solo album, Natural Avenue, was praised for its sincerity and introspective lyrics. Even decades later, he continued writing and performing, proving that his love for music was a lifelong calling rather than just a profession. John's personal life was equally admirable. Behind the stage lights and fame, he was a devoted husband and father. In 1968, he married Kirsten Lodge, a woman who became his pillar of strength for nearly 6 decades. The couple's relationship was a rare example of enduring love in the music industry, one built on loyalty, faith, and mutual respect. Kirsten was known to be private and humble, preferring to stay out of the spotlight while supporting her husband's demanding career. Friends described her as a graceful and grounded woman, someone who made sure John's life off stage was peaceful and balanced. She occasionally accompanied him on tours, quietly watching from backstage as her husband mesmerized audiences worldwide. Together, John and Kirsten raised 2 children, Emily and Christian. John's deep affection for his family was often reflected in his songs, most notably Emily's Song, which he wrote for his daughter in 1971 on the album Every Good Boy Deserves Favor. Both children later followed creative paths of their own, inspired by the artistic spirit that surrounded their family home. In interviews, John often spoke about how his evangelical Christian faith kept him grounded throughout his career. While many rock stars were swept away by fame, John maintained a quiet dignity, avoiding the destructive temptations that claimed so many of his peers. His strong sense of purpose and moral compass allowed him to remain one of the most respected musicians of his generation, not only for his music but also for his character. The Moody Blues continued performing live until 2018, the same year they were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. For John, That moment was one of the greatest honors of his life. He often described it as a celebration of friendship, music, and the shared journey of everyone who had ever been part of the Moody Blues family. Even after the band stopped touring, John never stopped creating. He continued to record solo material, perform select concerts, and connect with fans through online performances and interviews. His passion for music never faded. It only grew deeper with time. When the news of his passing broke, tributes poured in from around the world. Fans and fellow musicians alike remembered him not only as a talented artist but also as a kind, humble, and spiritual man who lived with purpose and grace. Although the cause of death was not officially revealed, his family stated that he passed away peacefully surrounded by loved ones, suggesting it was a calm and serene departure, one befitting a man whose life was defined by harmony, both musically and personally. It's said that in his final moments, the Everly Brothers and Buddy Holly, the same artists who inspired him as a boy, were playing softly in the background. It was a poetic and fitting farewell to a man who had spent his entire life giving the world music that touched the soul. John Lodge's legacy lives on, in the songs that continue to inspire generations, in the memories of his fans, and in the love of his family. His deep voice, melodic basslines, and lyrical wisdom have secured him a timeless place in music history. He once said in an interview, "Music is not about fame or fortune. It's about connection, a melody that finds a home in someone's heart." And indeed, John Lodge found his way into millions of hearts around the world. John Lodge's journey reminds us that true greatness lies not only in talent but in humility, love, and dedication. His music will forever echo through time, carrying the same spirit that made the Moody Blues one of the most influential bands in rock history. Rest in peace, John Lodge. Your songs will never fade. If you loved this tribute, please like this video, share it with other fans, and subscribe to our channel for more stories celebrating the lives of legendary artists who changed the world through music.